Yeah, I told you not to adjust your TV, computer, whatever the fuck way you get us into your living rooms. We are back officially. Reaper is still here. He is within me. Just waiting for my new makeup to arrive tomorrow. So I will definitely be reaping very soon. But thank you guys for sticking around and coming back for another edition of the Horror Barbecue with my undead brother, Mortimer Dead Fellow, looking spiffy tonight. That's right. We're going to be talking about the top 10 occult films of all time. Now, this spans more than 50 years of horror. So we're going to be jumping around all over the place. And I want you guys to bring some of your picks, some of your favorites, because this is actually a very large subgenre of horror film. And I think it spans anywhere between mainstream and indie horror as well. So bring your picks, share this shit out anywhere and everywhere there is a horror lover. Again, all in one night. Where else can you get twice the fun? Double your pleasure, as it will. That's right here at Black Flame Entertainment, the Horror Barbecue. We're going to kick this shit off in epic fucking fashion. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick commercial break to our brothers over in the UK. That's right. Poison Valley Scareware. Check it out. That's motherfucking right. If you want a high quality, original design, horror design for your apparel, you, the horror lover of the horror community, you definitely want to get over to poisonvalleyscareware.com. Check out what Dave's got. If you don't like the designs that he has currently, all you got to do is message him and he'll make you something special. That's right. All right. poisonvalleyscareware.com. Man, this is a topic that I am so fond of in horror because it's always been, I know a lot of people think Reaper, it's got to be, slashers with you. It's got to be, creatures with you. And that's true in a lot of ways. But my absolute favorite subgenre of horror is the occult films. These are films that are based on a lot of occult phenomena. As my brother Mortimer Dead Fellow here also loves these films. So, man, what a fucking great subgenre to be in and talk about some of these great films. So let's kick it off right now. What's your first pick for tonight?
Well, I thought for my first pick of the evening, I would go more as one for the ladies as well as the gents. And that would be Warlock.
Oh, holy fuck.
With the great Julian Sands. Rest in peace, brother.
Rest in power, sir.
Rest in power, very much so. And Richard E. Grant. And with this film, as you would know, you get literally time travel.
Yes.
From the time of Salem with a witch hunter finding somebody. And I would like to classify this. He's not a witch like you would be sold a witch. He is the son of the devil witch. Correct. He is a very powerful being, not a normal. He is not Wiccan. He isn't nothing like that. He is bad news.
We're not frozen, Erica. We're not frozen. I promise you. We're dead, but we're not frozen.
But yeah, and then with this you get to go into a lot of the lores and stuff that they would have, and like the
Yes.
thumb cuffs and the iron weakness and salt and things like that, for going more towards, he's treated almost to that end almost like a ghost.
Yes.
Where you're using things to try to ward away his spells and stuff. And with that film you get to see like somebody trying to deal in the modern world that
Right.
came from like the time of the Salem trials and stuff. So, but you don't usually get a hero and a villain that are displaced from time too much, especially in these type of films.
Yes.
And then that's what really got me when I had first seen it. I really, really enjoyed it.
Oh, I was sucked in because, when we think of witches, everybody has their own idea. I mean, it's been done a lot. You've seen anything from an evil witch to a good witch, just a child of nature. But what we're
Right.
talking about is a warlock. Now, the term warlock is actually a male witch, but at the same token, it has very dark implications.
Yeah.
They are always trying to weave and work magics that are so dark, and to bring about some, coming of a god, or demons from the pit,
Right.
in order to basically enslave the world. And I fell in love with Julian Sands right from rip. I have followed this man's career. He is fucking brilliant, and it's just a travesty. Just a travesty that we lost him.
So
There
wasn't
if
a film
it wasn't for him,
yeah,
this would have never been a franchise.
No, I agree. As much because, see, also too, he's the only returning character that carried the franchise.
Correct. Until part 3.
Exactly. But it's like,
we won't talk about part 3 though.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But
who better to do some of the most heinous things?
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right.
In horror film at this time. Anything from boiling the fat from
I was about to mention that exactly.
A child in order to fly. Who would have thought we would have seen that?
Well, exactly, and normal kind of things like that, like most films, it would have already happened,
right,
or been talked about in like folklore or superstition or something, but not with this. Exactly, it's like when he creates his magic and does his spells, it's like you have crops dying. You have like omens of bad crap coming your way. And it's this guy. And for them, there's only one individual that can see it, that really sees and knows what they're up against.
And the guy that plays Redfern,
Richard E. Grant,
the warlock hunter, he was just spellbinding as an actor. He gave you legitimate fear whenever something was coming, or he starts getting very anxietal. I think the crowd, I know for me as a young man at the time when I saw this film, I got this feeling of anxiety, like, oh shit, he's coming. You gotta get the fuck out of there. Oh, exactly, Lizzie, absolutely. His accent was fucking amazing. He had that shit down to a T.
He also has my favorite line in the film. When he's trying to take
the weather. There's so many though.
Well, when he's trying to take the weather vane on the plane.
Oh yeah.
I take that over my rotting corpse. But I agree. Yeah, his accent was perfect. Julian Sands, perfect. And that was the kind of thing is even when it goes into modern times, you don't lose the rivalry and the butting of the heads of the two of them of trying to stop each other. It's very superhero, super villain.
Yeah, they knew that this was definitely going to be something that was going to cause a stir.
Yeah,
And
definitely
I
something new. It wasn't the same normal way of going about it as they had done
nope,
100 times over.
it wasn't over fantasized. It was, this man is brutal. This warlock knows every spell under the sun to do what he needs to do in order to try to bring. Now, this will get you out there in the Black Flame universe if you haven't seen it. He wants to get creation uncreated.
Yep.
That was the plight of this whole thing.
Yep. Yeah.
What and just you want to talk about apocalypse?
All right.
Think about
Pure
creation
evil.
uncreating.
It's not greed. It's not anything like that. It's
Nope.
I want it all gone.
And
Yeah.
he was so passionate about it, like nothing would stop him.
Yeah, he was close. He almost got it. He almost got it, but
That moment when he says, I released Satan's what was it? Undead soul.
No, yeah.
Oh, that monologue right there fucking put shivers down my spine. I was like, yes, bring him.
He goes hard, and he did. And each time that he played the character, he always went as hard as he did the first time. He never underplayed the character, but he didn't overplay him either.
No, it wasn't cheesy.
Exactly.
There was no cheese.
He played him very sinister and very straightforward. I need your eyes. Just to tell me where to go. It's like,
yeah, that's what he need. That's what we needed. We needed this role to bring fear. He was able to bring a character that is completely heartless, emotionless.
Right. You're not going to barter with him or anything like that. Exactly. It's like
the only time you got a smirk out of him was when he was about to do a spell that was going to make him better.
Yeah, or curse you forever or anything he could. Yeah, the suffering of others was his Tuesdays.
Oh, yeah. It definitely made everyone feel like, I better not let anyone wear my bracelet. I may turn exponentially into a decrepit old person.
Exactly. And when that's a thing there too, which I loved about that, because he was so tactical about the curses.
Yes.
Because the one person he had to be afraid of was Redfern.
Yep.
And knew that, if I curse this person, the hero is going to go over there and have to save them.
Yep.
I'm going to get away. And he was so smart about that. It was very Superman, Lex Luthor vibe.
Big time.
Without being like a superhero movie. It's a really interesting film. I really enjoyed that one.
Very, very cat and mouse. Love it. Loved the whole concept. The second one was even bigger, nastier.
Yeah.
But, that's for another time. But excellent first pick. It was the first one that popped into my head as well. But I'm going to take it back to 1967. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because at this time in horror film, Hammer horror ruled the universe at about that time. Actually, going back to 1958, but we won't say that. But in 1967, Sir Christopher Lee plays one of the most prolific, maniacal, sadistic characters that I could ever imagine him doing. And his Dracula is way over the top. It has always been the best Dracula, in my opinion, on fucking film. But
when you're trying to make Dracula scary, yes, 100%.
Which, again, that's how vampires were supposed to be.
Well, no, exactly.
A bloodthirsty warlord.
Yep. and exactly.
He's not romantic, damn it.
Yeah, well, well, under the trance you thought he was, as he's right down your throat, But I agree. Yeah, no, Christopher Lee was so impactful just from any performance he gave, really. But as Dracula, you cannot ignore him. He chews up the scenery, literally.
Well, we get to see a different side of him in this particular film. I am talking about the torture chamber of Dr. Sadism.
Ooh.
This film is, I mean, it's got everything. It starts you off. He is accused of these horrible crimes of killing all these people, which is not too far fetched for Sir Christopher Lee at this time.
Right.
And he's sentenced to death. So the film starts with his hanging.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
then,
and Hammer was really interesting about doing stuff like that, where they
oh,
would
yeah.
they would start it at the end of the movie technically and work their way back into the story on how they got to that predicament. And yeah, exactly.
Well, in this case, this particular hanging is what is the present and then what we see in the future, because he has some distant relatives that come to try to lay claim to his castle and all of his belongings. Now, if you haven't seen this film, it is something fucking else, let me tell you. So it literally leads you into a chamber of horrors. Um, he has figured out how to bring himself back to life, to be basically immortal. It's got everything. It's got a pendulum that almost completely kills and annihilates the heroine of the story, which is so fucking crazy to me, because that actor had to have gone through some serious psychological shit, because
Right.
this thing is swinging above him, and I mean, it
Oh
literally
yeah.
touches him. And they did not use a mannequin. They didn't use anything. It's the actor. Okay. And we're huge practical effects fans.
Very much so.
So they had a little bag of blood underneath his frilly cravat
Right.
that he's wearing. And as the pendulum comes down, blood starts to, somehow start to spray out of him a little bit.
Right.
And the only person that was leading the charge is his trusty butler. So he's leading these people that are there to try to see, what they're who gets what and this and that.
Right.
It's just the the imagery, the set design, everything so occult, and it's based
Oh, yeah.
on the fact that he found the secret to coming back to life.
Which I think, to a degree, I think it's Saint Germain or something they call him. It's an aristocrat that is supposedly like, and he's like a real folk tale kind of thing, to where
It
he's this
is.
guy that lived for freaking ever.
It says in the olden times, Count Regula. I love how they gave him the name Count Regula. Is drawn and quartered for killing 12 virgins in his dungeon torture chamber. 35 years later, he comes back to seek revenge on the daughter of his intended 13th victim and the son of the prosecutor in order to attain immortal life.
As one would,
Exactly. I mean,
especially if it's Christopher Lee, they should have expected it. It's like
right.
you should have looked at the rental clause that said he will come back from the dead and will make your life a living hell.
I mean, he was pissed. He's like, come on, guys. Why'd you do? I was having fun. This was a regular Saturday night for me. I'm going to kill a bunch of virgins.
Yeah.
So that is my first pick.
Oh, see, okay, I can go a little crazy with that. Not as crazy, but I can follow you up on that one.
1967.
That's,
you know what I'm saying? Think about that. Let that sink in.
Exactly. Comparative to the one I'm bringing to the table is we're going to go a little farther, dip into one of our favorite subjects of the 1980s.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to do with the 1981 version of The Evil Dead.
Oh, man.
Because we have to. You have to. It's like as soon as occult films came as the subject, it was like, yes, we have to have some Sumerian text here, and
Of course.
Verata.
Right.
You know, and it's like, because it's iconic, and it also, when it comes to occult films, that was kind of the ones to where you got into the Sumerian stuff.
Yes.
That kind of also led into another giant occult film of the times, kind of led into that kind of belief system there too. So, and it's like, and with occult films, you can jump around. It's like, oh, it's not always Satanism. It's not always witches. It's not always, it can be literally, I mean, if you want to get technical, and this will make you laugh, Ghost with Patrick Swayze is an occult film.
Considered, yes.
Because you have a medium that speaks to ghosts, and then you have the girlfriend that ends up seeing him cross over to the other side. Last time I checked, Demi Moore wasn't psychic. So, you know, she had a supernatural experience with a loved one that had crossed on. So it is technically an occult film.
Very much so.
You're just not having, virgin sacrifices and stuff like that.
That's right.
But it's also with Evil Dead. The other thing, it's like you were saying, for that one, you have like an old castle that has been turned into a house of horrors. Well, in this one, it's like you have the cabin, and you can't go anywhere. Once it starts, the ball is rolling. I mean, when a bridge curls up like a claw, the one way to get over there, you're not going anywhere. Right. And that, to me, even when I first saw it, that had gripped me, was like the helplessness. Yes. It's like they've got your car. It doesn't matter. You're not going to escape it. It's like once you've started it and let it out, you're going to continue this process until it's done, or until you're done. And of course, it spawned and inspired countless directors and actors and film effects as well too. So yeah, I had to throw Evil Dead up there.
Absolutely. And I think this one typically comes to everybody's mind because it's the classic tale of the Necronomicon.
Exactly.
Not the
not the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
No, not the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or oh my goodness, why is his name escaping me? The other writer that's very, very well known. What?
H.P. Lovecraft.
H.P. Lovecraft. Yes, thank you. Was not his design either.
Right.
This was always in occult history going back to the So Evil Dead was able to bring it in one of the most horrific ways because it's an entity that you cannot see, and it can take over people at will.
That you care about too. And then that's what I thought was.
And then you have to kill them.
Yeah, and then you got to kill them because it's like there's no unpossessing. Right. There's really not. At the end of the day, in most cases, the only person that can get possessed and get unpossessed is Ash.
That's right.
It's like
he was the only one that was able to shake the horrible monkey on his back.
Exactly, because he's the Hefe. But that was the thing, as I always called him, he's the Al Bundy of horror movies.
Yes.
Me. Because Al Bundy, he's funny. He don't got money. His life's crap. But when you put Al in the corner and make him fight, Al Bundy's going to knock you out. It is the same thing with,
you gotta love that.
Campbell. Yeah. And Ash, once you start pissing him off, he's going to slapstick, blow your head off with the boomstick. And make a one-liner as he's chopping you up. I mean, come on. There's so many things.
Oh, Lizzie makes a really interesting point here. It's like Patrick Swayze as a Deadite, that would have been very conflicting. Had he been a Deadite, I think I would have liked Ghost better.
Well, it also would have made Roadhouse a little more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get out of this bar or I'll swallow your soul.
They would have crossed over every audience that there is with that.
Oh man! See, now I want to see Deadite. Like the Deadite version of Dirty Dancing.
That would have been sick.
No one will see me in the corner.
Right. Oh man. So
Pardon.
we're talking about occult films that, I mean, obviously there are ones that hit. We already know they hit. So it's
Right.
almost like, why do we even need to mention it? Anything from The Exorcist to Hellraiser. We all know that those are some of the most popular, most, tangible films. But what
Yeah.
we're trying to do is open your minds a little bit to some of the other films that don't get as much critical acclaim as some of those. So my next pick is The Omen. There is something about The Omen and the fact that there is a child born. This family is very prominent, and they can't conceive, so they adopt. And you end up adopting what is to become the Antichrist. I think that is, you know what I'm saying? Because there are so many families that go through this, and then you
Right.
don't know where they came from or how they came to be, and then they find out that he's born of a fucking goat.
Right.
I mean, that has got to be the biggest cosmic joke ever on a family, not
He's
knowing
a
that
bad boy.
exactly that this child is going to one day take over the entire world. And go figure, it's a social political commentary, because how does he do that? As we go through the Omen series, he becomes, or is about to become, the next president.
Yep. Yeah.
So there's so much like locked up in there,
Oh, yeah.
as far as the script is concerned, but still just the idea that you
Well, that's,
don't
yeah,
realize that you're raising the devil's child.
right. Because it's like what you were saying, like with The Exorcist and ones like that, you can see that she's possessed by, a demon.
Right.
You can physically see it, but it's like with The Omen, it's a little boy. It's a little kid. What are you gonna hurt this little kid? You don't, oh, if
exactly. No one suspects the little guy.
Exactly. But it reminded me when I first saw it, it reminded me of a movie called The Bad Seed, where you have the little girl that is.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What a great film that was.
And that was one of the first plays I ever got to act in.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. I was a janitor that got set on fire. Yeah. But it's the same kind of thing as this little girl. Yeah.
Poor guy. You were reduced to ash.
Yeah, right out of the gate. But it's like nobody suspected her because she was a little kid and she was killing people left and right.
Right.
But nobody would think about it. And the most chilling thing in that film to me is the same kind of thing as it is for The Omen, is the realization of the parent when they go, oh, crap, it's you. You've been doing all of that, and it's like, and especially for The Omen, it kicks it up to 11 with things like that, and people showing, the crazies showing their loyalties to him. And
have a good night, Cody. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, brother. Everybody feel better,
please.
Mortimer included.
No, right. Exactly.
But yeah, that's a great choice.
Nobody sees this kid coming.
Yep. No, exactly. It's like you don't realize how screwed you really are because it's in the guise of a kid, of a child.
Right.
Yeah, that's more wicked than you could get if it had horns on its head and breathing fire at you, really. Right? Because when you would defend yourself against, because to you it's it's a monster, right? People are gonna fight it off and stuff. But if you don't know and it's right next to you, and it's that little kid giving that off stare look at something, and you don't realize, oh, that kid's gonna make Dexter look like he should be Mr. Rogers. You're gonna have gonna have some issues with the upbringing there.
Right.
Oh, he's gonna need
your next pick, sir.
Okay. Oh God, Omen's a good one. I'm gonna have to go a little bit back for an icon. My one of my mentors. I didn't get taught by him, but I wish. But one of the icons I've always looked up to would be Mask of the Red Death, 1964, with the great, amazing Vincent Price.
Oh, Kyler. He says, I would punt kick him like in every scary movie. That's awesome. Oh, you're the son of Satan?
I could totally watch the Children of the Corn.
Oh, everybody wanted to punt kick that little motherfucker.
Oh, he walks between the rows. You better get out of here, get out of here.
You little goblin, get the fuck
out of here. What the hell's wrong with you, little Amish demon? Get away from me. Yeah, but for Mask of the Red Death, though.
Mask of the Red Death. Oh, my goodness.
And I, as I was telling you before, this spawned because of our discussion about the great Roger Corman.
Yes.
That the films that he did and the post series that he did with Vincent Price are amazing films. Not one of them is bad at all.
Nope. Visually, acting, script wise, just a masterpiece.
Yeah, and it's like he's part of the set as much as he's the lead of the cast. I mean, he is living in the worlds that he is. You know, it's like it's so believable with every part he did. He made you believe he was this person.
And did it with a smile.
Exactly. Sadistic glee, you know. But the thing with this one that I really enjoyed was it's the aspect of this noble prince, you know, European prince, while the Red Plague is happening, decides to throw a party. And a mysterious masked guest shows up. And as the party goes along, our host begins to believe that it's Satan himself.
Mm-hmm.
But why would Satan show up at your door unless you were mean, cruel, and deserved the visit? And that's exactly with Vincent Price. You get this pure evil character that's got it coming.
Yes.
You know, and it's really that tale of if you're bad, you're going to pay for it. And you'll pay for it through your own mind, through your own heart, through your own, you know, your eyes will show you things that you think are there that aren't there. And it's like he twists him around so much in the story. And it's just, you get to see his strength and confidence and everything just dwindle, and you turn into fear and terror. And it was amazing performance.
You got to love how that happens. Somebody that's so maniacal always feels in control, and then suddenly it takes one entity to just make that all disappear.
Yep. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're not taking it with you.
Nope.
You don't know who I am. Pardon me.
Yeah, Mark. I mean, at that point, all you could hope for is that you're the lead shift on roasting bodies over a fire.
Right. Exactly. And it's like in that type of scenario with it, you're kind of you don't exactly know how it's going to go, but
right.
You're pardon me, got a moth.
No worries.
Problem with being dead, I attract bugs from time to time.
Right. But you know, that and that's why, you know, we do the list the way we do. We try to, you know, bring you through the years, the different decades, because obviously, you know, when the occult was being a little bit sensationalized during the 70s, you know, it was a big thing because every filmmaker knew that, you know, they could do a horror movie based on some of this stuff that's going to terrify everybody, you know, in the audience, you know, because, you know, religiosos and all that stuff.
Which
that they're going to be clutching their Bibles when they see this, but at the same time, they're mystified about it. Like
exactly,
Oh, I want to feel naughty,
right?
You know, because I went and seen this movie. Every teenager during that time was probably feeling that. They're like, there's something so cool about this.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's,
hey, what's up, Brett? Good to see you, brother. Always a pleasure from the Evil Never Dies podcast. Good to see you. Glad to have you with us. We're discussing our top 10 picks of occult horror films.
Yeah.
So, which leads me to skipping ahead just a little bit because we were just in the 80s. But I want to take you into the 90s a little bit. And one of the first ones that comes to mind is some of the great Clive Barker classics. And we're not talking about Hellraiser because we already talked about that, as we know that that is one of the most recognizable ones there are.
Yeah, by far, yeah.
But I want to talk a little bit about The Lord of Illusions.
Ah, yes. Very good one.
A tale that takes ordinary people, and the character is if I remember correctly, is based on being an author, and the person that's coming to try to find out what happened to this guy gets a lot more than what he bargained for.
Yeah.
Trying to find out what happened to this guy. Where did he go? And that's because he unlocked something. And he becomes something so much more than what his stories were. He was basically kind of like a warlock in disguise, if you will.
Yeah.
And when we think about occult writers, what are they always doing? They're trying to unlock the mysteries.
Yeah. A very Aleister Crowley kind of vibe.
Exactly.
Trying to push that button and push that line to see how far you could really go. But you got to be careful if you're messing with shit you don't have any idea what you're up against.
I was going to say, you end up finding something that you thought you wanted. Yeah. And you're like, well, this is a little too much. Can I put you back in your little gift box? And guess what?
That's very much a Hellraiser vibe there too. It's like, oh, I want pain, I want pleasure, but oh, hey, can I please put my skin back on?
Well,
it's a little too much.
I think this one in particular is more about power.
Mm-hmm.
This individual wants the ultimate power. He wants ultimate dominion over what he considers to be ants. Just
right. Yeah. No. Completely. Almost a puppet master kind of vibe. He wants to
very much so.
Strings once he, you come to me because I have all the answers and the power and. Oh yeah,
and then of course suffering. That's
well
the big flavor of the day.
You gotta have that key ingredient.
Yes, indeed. So if you haven't gotten down to this one, came out in 1995, definitely check it out. You're gonna like it. It's very, very, and I mean very psychological horror.
Oh yeah, very, very much so. And I think for my next one, I think I'm gonna kind of stay in the 90s with you a little bit.
Awesome.
And this was one of the first ones that popped into my head, minus Warlock, and that would be Event Horizon 1997.
Oh man!
Because
talk about
you can't beat it, because I don't know, honestly, of a film that's ever done the same concept like at all.
Right.
No
one's really touched upon it since.
And exactly. And it's like, and I think there's games like, Dead Space and stuff like that wouldn't exist without this film.
Right.
Because, but to give our the demons a little bit for it there, is think about if you were going to go into space and try to retrieve a ship that vanished, on a giant specialized ship that vanished for 7 years. And when it showed back up, it's a lot different.
Right.
Because think of an event that would rip open a fabric in space and time and lead you to another dimension.
Right.
Now, we're not talking about warp travel. We're talking about taking you to the gates of hell.
Literally.
Literally, a dimension of pure chaos, pure evil, pure pain, and the ship is no longer an inanimate object. And you have to
it becomes more of a vessel of demonic activity.
Yeah, very much so. Exactly. And it's like, and there's no priest, throwing holy water at it or nothing.
Good
And
luck
it's like,
with that.
You've got to fight this stuff. Exactly. You got to fight it more like aliens, with flamethrowers and shit. And it still doesn't really help you in a large degree because you're dealing with something that's not, it's not, it's biological thing. It's beyond the flesh. But it likes to play with your flesh, decorate with it, and make new shit. It's like, who knows? You get bored. I've been in the crypto for. It's like we've all watched Reanimator. Get a hand on an eyeballs on it. Stitch it together. We all get bored.
Shit, I love it.
but yeah, I have to. And then you got Sam Neill and you got Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, and he was chilling. Sam Neill was chilling in this film. Something when we think of Sam Neill, we think of
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. He's the really nice, curious, archaeologist and all that stuff. And then to see him in this, where he is becomes your ultimate doom.
Yeah.
I think that's just really cool and a testament to his acting.
I agree. He was very chilling in this film. It was one of those performances where he really, really dipped into the concept of what the film was about.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen it, it's definitely you want to see
it. Oh man. So now we're going to fast forward a little bit. As we've been hanging out in the 90s for a second. Looks like Brother Mortimer has he's back. Awesome. See, just like that.
Damn moth.
Yes, he did. Brett is absolutely correct in this. He played a great Damien Thorne. And since you've just joined us, The Omen was one of the films that we mentioned tonight because it's one that I feel just doesn't get the kudos that it deserves, because you're always hearing about The Exorcist, but what about The Omen?
Very much so.
But this one I'm actually really excited about. So we're in 2011, and one of my favorite, I don't care who tries to slap me in the face for this, one of my favorite actors of all time. He is truly a chameleon. You stick him in any picture and he delivers. It doesn't matter what the character. I'm talking about the great Nicolas Cage. And in this case, he shows up in a fucking chaotic, wild ride for the ages called Drive Angry. We're talking about, he plays a guy that did a lot of bad shit in his time. So obviously he ends up in hell. But his daughter, who is left on Earth, ends up joining this satanic cult, and not a very good one, I might add.
Yeah, no.
They were lacking 50 degrees of wrong with this. And, when she figures out that she has been duped, this whole thing is a bunch of bullshit, it gets her killed. So he comes back to avenge and get this cult leader to relinquish his granddaughter. So It is so occult to the max with this. Every facet of this film. He
Oh yeah.
rides out of hell and comes back on Earth, has all these powers that he cannot die, which is so cool.
Right.
But this is the kicker now. My favorite character in this whole film is the accountant.
Yeah. Yep.
Wielding an ancient coin that he makes a decision on whether or not you're going to be destroyed in the most horrible way, and is able to kind of come in and out of this whole thing, because obviously Nicolas Cage is leaving all these bodies behind because the cult's trying to kill him because they know he's back and that he's trying to thwart everything.
Right.
If you haven't seen it, it has comedy. It has moments of pure, raw emotion and sadness. And then a fuck ton of action.
Oh, yeah.
There are situations that happen in this film that you're just like, how in the hell? But when you're watching it, though, you're like, this is the best shit ever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like, to me, in parts, it's like if you took the Fast and the Furious movies and then added hell.
Put some good old fashioned hell in there, some fire and brimstone,
a little bit of demonicry, things like that. Oh yeah, but I know I totally agree. Goodness. This is great.
Because I mean, everything that this poor guy goes through in this film, you're just rooting for him.
Oh,
and he's actually one of the bad guys. Yeah. This film, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated films in his catalog. Because
it is.
I know that Ghost Rider unfortunately pissed off, all the comic book, people that were, huge fans of Ghost Rider. Didn't think that he pulled the character off well. Actually, I enjoyed the first one.
I did too.
But a lot of people were just very turned off. So he comes back with this film, and I feel like it was so much better, just a better story. And something that you just didn't see coming.
Well, exactly. Yeah. You didn't get, he got to be gritty in this one.
Big time.
Got to be more.
Got to be himself.
School. Yeah. Got to be more action, old school stuff that he was used to from like the 70s and stuff.
Right.
With the car movies and stuff like that with this, to where you could actually have them traveling, traveling as being most of the movie.
Yep.
But when you put in the badass elements and stuff like that and having car chases and gunfights and stuff while they're driving, it keeps the film going. It keeps you paying attention and just pulls you more into him getting them back,
Yes.
Oh yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Totally. And it's all a constant build to the epic ending moment.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's a final showdown aspect. Very much so. And it's very interesting for the demons, because we actually have a double shot of Nick Cage, because my last pick from 2018 is Mandy.
Oh my goodness.
If you have not seen Mandy and you love Nicolas Cage, whether you don't like Nicolas Cage, you should still watch the movie, because then you might have a different respect for him.
Yep. This
movie is crazy, but
beyond crazy.
Think of Nick
critically
Cage.
Acclaimed as well.
Oh yeah. No, this is actually one of those ones that was more of an an indie film that did exactly with his performance and how it was done and stuff. Got a lot of attention. Yes. And really got a lot of people wanting to work, realize that Nick Cage was still relevant. He made, well, you know what I mean? He made people realize, hey, dude, there's a reason that I'm famous. There's a reason that I've been acting since I was a kid. Right. When I turn it on, I can turn it on, bro, and I'll go for it. And that's what he does. And a lot of the same thing with Drive Angry. And it's like, for this one, he's a lumberjack.
Yep.
Which you would never think for that. Oh, I'm going to watch a movie where Nick Cage is a lumberjack.
But then it sounds boring from the rip, but man, it's so come from behind kind of deal.
Exactly, because his wife that he loves, she's his world, catches the eye of a cult leader.
Brett, 100%.
And things happen to where she gets taken, and he absolutely loses his shit and makes a specialized axe for the problems at hand. And just it's hard to explain it without ruining the movie. But think of
Right,
Nick
we
Cage
don't
covered
want to
in
do
blood,
that. We want you to
ruling
watch it.
ass.
Yes.
You know, it's like, but you, it's a struggle to see him try to get this cult leader, because this cult
Yes.
leader's power is crazy. You
Mhm.
know, and it's like, but you can tell in parts as a struggle between the two that he fears Nicolas Cage more than he likes to let on that he does.
Exactly.
You know, and I loved that, and I love how
At
Nick
root,
Cage,
he knows he's just a worthless piece of shit.
yeah, and it's like with Cage for it. Well, that's the thing. You get the really sweet, loving part where you're showing that, you know, his love for his wife and everything like that. You get to see him tortured. You know, you
Yep.
get to see all kinds of things like that. So many different levels of emotion throughout this film.
Yeah, I was
And
going to
it's just,
say,
yeah, it's like a roller coaster.
For me, the best part of the film, and I mean, no one likes to watch this, but
Right.
you literally see him deteriorate emotionally
Yeah.
from what has happened. I don't think there's a lot of actors that can do that. You can literally see, feel the mental breakdown, the heartbreak, and he brought it.
Well, no, exactly. Yeah, he really does. What I was saying. That's why this film for me is the one where Nicolas Cage reminded people who he was.
Yep, sure did.
You know,
And
and
it was a Shudder exclusive.
yeah, which is interesting on that end too, because it got extremely popular.
Yep.
It's one of his more ones that gets mentioned to him a lot. But I understand why. It's fucking crazy. But I loved it. It was a great ride. I thought it was great.
And the Easter eggs that
Yeah.
were throughout the film. There's a scene. I actually had to take a picture of it because if you blink, you miss it. You know what I mean? There's a gas can that some of the cult members were using as you know, Cage is trying to infiltrate. And on the gas can is a perfect Lucifer sigil, which ends up basically telling you what this is all moving towards.
Right.
Because the epic ending where, you know, basically, you know, Nicolas Cage is the one who ends up stealing the power and becomes unstoppable. And absolutely puts these bastards, you know, to lay to waste. So if you haven't seen this, you definitely need to, because it's somebody did their fucking homework on this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And it's
not just in the horror
beautifully.
aspect, but the occult aspect.
Yep.
They knew what the fuck they were talking about.
I agree. 100%.
Made me go, huh?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no, the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, get him, Nick. Yeah, you get him, man. Go on, show him who you are.
Okay.
Yeah, he did great. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
So for my my last pick, and this is one that also got critical acclaim. Now, this is mainstream. We haven't seen a film like this since it came out. Where you get pretty much the whole package of what an occult film can bring you. It gives you possession. It gives you ghosts. It gives you cult members that are you know, constantly involved throughout this family that is, you know, going through grief and then goes through the ultimate grief. So many of the cast members had to go to therapy after doing this film, and that has been documented. But I mean, it's got some of the most amazing cast members they could have ever pulled into this thing. I have to say it. Hereditary. This film came out in 2018. Nobody saw this shit coming.
Yeah.
But
No. Yeah.
somebody like myself who is very much into the occult noticed right off rip what this film was centered around. And it starts with the funeral in the beginning of the film, and everyone is wearing the same necklace sigil.
Yep.
Everybody. And I was like, oh, no, you didn't. Who is sitting there going, oh, let's just pick one of the 9 princes of hell, no, known as Paimon.
Right.
And, this grandmother is the leader or the high priestess of this cult, who dies, and then she shows up, every once in a while, looking at her daughter, looking at her granddaughter, and she's in the house. And,
Right.
the mom in this dynamic, who is played by, I think it's Ann Dodd. Yes. Yeah. She is so messed up. She doesn't know how to grieve about this. She doesn't know how to feel about this, but that's because her mom, she grew up in a cult that she just pushed all this shit down, like repressed.
Yeah.
So she's going to, she's like, I don't know why I'm not feeling what I'm supposed to be feeling, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And to like, support groups for this shit. She doesn't know why she's there, and she's still not feeling any damn thing. And then, she has a older teenage son. And then, of course, I think she's like 12 or 13 years old in this film. Millie Shapiro is the actress that plays the daughter. And she meets an unbelievable fate. Now, this is the crazy part. So grandma, I mean, most of everybody has seen this film, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling it. But if you haven't seen it, this will probably make you want to. Throughout the film, after grandma dies, you start to see her having signs of being like the possession or a vessel for something that is coming.
You can feel like the doom impending.
Yeah. Every time she did those sounds, I just cringed. I'm like, oh, I know what's happening here. What is she going to become?
Yeah. See,
but it turns out that she just wasn't strong enough. Unfortunately, the older son takes her to a regular teenage party. And then she eats cake that she has an allergy to certain things, and rushes off to try to get her to the hospital. And she, at this point, she's pretty fucked up. She's going into like anaphylactic shock and all that shit. Sticks her fucking head out the window. And let me tell you, if that wasn't shocking, I don't know what is.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's one of the things where you're
exactly.
It's like, you don't know what to say. It's galvanizing almost. You don't know what you don't know how to react.
I had literally sat there after that scene and everything, and I put it on pause. And it's right where, that moment that her older brother realizes that she just lost her head.
Yeah.
And what was on the pole when it hit her? The sigil.
Yeah.
The person that wrote this story knew the whole lore behind this.
They definitely did their homework. Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, what would even make you think to do that in the first place? If in fact you weren't an occultist yourself. And that's why this movie was so brilliant.
Well, exactly, because if you didn't have that extra knowledge, you could just watch it as, it's a cult movie and then there's a reveal.
Yes.
But by having the extra knowledge, you could see more into it than, the normal people watching it, the normal audience viewers.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this was definitely shock and awe,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
for everything, and
Yes.
how the family carries on after this happens.
Yeah.
You know, it's like 2 deaths within what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of each other.
Yeah.
That's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Gabriel Byrne, I mean, I've always loved his acting.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. He's real
Um,
good.
he was just the perfect dad.
Yeah.
You never quite knew where things kind of set with him.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really hard to read him in that. Yeah. I know. I agree.
And then, of
Yeah.
course, obviously, you know, the mom, the wife ends up becoming possessed to
Yeah.
the hilt and
Yeah.
turns him into a fucking post crispy. Guys, it's got everything, the possession to all the way to the most shocking ending to a film that sent poor Alex Wolff, the actor, into therapy
Yeah.
because they crown him as Prince Paimon at the
Yeah.
end. And I'm not even going to tell you, but the imagery is so fucking crazy. If
Yeah.
you want to see a film that's going to like pull your heartstrings, fuck your head up, and just make you go, what the hell did I just watch? Check out Hereditary.
Yeah. Yeah. Sum that up beautifully. Yeah.
Woo.
Oh yeah. That's a good one.
So those are our picks, guys. And I'm sure you have some of your own favorites too. So in future shows, let us know, you know, what some of your favorites are, because you know, demon topics are always fun in the horror genre, and we love to discuss those films. So hopefully, we've inspired you to go back and watch some of these films. I mean, anything from the master of the occult, which is, oh, excuse me, Vincent Price, who is actually a very, very high regarded chef.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
had a hell of a time selling his cookbooks because everyone's so used to watching him play these crazy.
Is there going to be people in it? Is it going to be skulls in it? It's like,
Right?
no,
Is
he's
it
just
Pat
normal
Payne?
food. He's a gentleman. You never kill on the first date. Come on now.
Oh my
You to
goodness!
have the appetizer before you're the appetizer.
Right.
Gentlemen.
But just insane, excellent films that really challenge us. They challenge our inner you know,
Demons.
chutzpah, if you will, of what we can handle. And these
Yeah.
films, you know, they kind of go beyond that traditional god devil thing.
Yeah.
These films take it to so many different levels, and in a lot of ways, you know, some of the films we discussed, they can be social commentaries, political
Yep.
commentaries. There's so much in them. You just need to kind of look beyond some of it, and you'll find it.
Yep.
We
Peel back
thank
the
you
layer.
guys absolutely for joining us tonight, discussing these films, because we have a wonderful heart, a black heart for these films. We challenge you to go ahead and check some of them out if you haven't, because if you look back through more than 50 years of horror films, you're going to find the ones that are going to really kind of challenge your fabric of imagination.
Yeah.
And you know, for us having 2 shows on the network tonight, you guys have been absolutely amazing, and we love every single one of you for showing up and supporting. And we have more great programming coming the rest of the week. Tracks of the Damned makes its return on Thursday. So we're going to have a whole brand new discussion on metal. I believe what we're going to be doing is talking about some of the best metal releases to ever come out in the month of January.
No.
And there's a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be great to examine some of those classics, those records, and some of the newer ones too, because we've been doing a lot of reviews. Oh, and that's another thing. We're going to be doing a review of Wardruna's new record. So let's get your Viking on and talk about this new record, because it is something else. Very transformative, very meditative. And then, of course, the goddamn program makes its return to Saturday nights this coming Saturday. So if you are ready to sin, sin is in. Let's get going. So as you are laying it down and you have visions of Vincent Price dancing in your heads, holding a butcher knife with a maniacal look in his eye, just remember, stay heavy.
Thank you for joining us on Ringro's Underground. Stay tuned for more from Black Flame and